Ladies and gentlemen, I greet you as usual. Today I'm going to change a little bit. I'm not going to talk about land. I'll talk about the current situation of the constitutional amendment, proposed constitutional amendment to change the age limit of the president of Uganda. Many of you have heard what has happened this week. First and foremost, I'd like to pass on my condolences to those who have lost their dear ones, and to pass on my regards to people who have suffered, who are nursing wounds, who have been beaten, who have been raped, and who have been mistreated by the brutal military machine of dictator Museveni through the army and through the police, commanded by the terrorist Kiyingi. I know that many people have lost their lives. I know that people have been tear gassed, and we understand that the tear gas used this time was poisonous. Now, Mr. Kiyingi, this is a very serious offense, both locally and internationally, if you're spraying poisonous gas against unarmed civilians. Therefore, the Ugandans, the international community, should take note and take every step possible to protect human life, to protect Ugandans. On this call, I want to let our listeners know that your efforts, your suffering, your dedication, your commitment has not been in vain. Finally, the voice of Ugandans is getting heard. And you know that the ambassador of the United States of America made a statement at a press conference in Kampala. You know that the members of the European Union delegation in Uganda made a statement. We as Ugandans, we as peace-loving people, we are very encouraged by this positive step, and we call upon all other governments that are dealing with Mr. Museveni to come out in the support of the people. The people are listening. The people are noting all this. And they were very happy and grateful that they have come out in support of the fundamental human rights of Ugandans. Even though there might be political disagreement, it does not give a license to dictator Museveni to beat and kill at will. So I'd like to encourage Ugandans, I'd like to encourage all our well wishes that we must redouble our efforts of condemning, of fighting dictator Museveni, so that we can bring an end to this brutal and senseless regime. I'd like to thank all those on the ground in Uganda who have risked their lives to document what has been happening. Over the last 2-3 days, I've been getting messages almost every 10 minutes with photographic evidence of what is happening in Ibale, what is happening in Lira, what is happening in Gulu, what is happening in Bombo, what is happening in Makerere. Now, this is not a small thing to coordinate all this. And for those of you who dedicated yourself in documenting, I know you didn't have a spear, you didn't have a sword, you didn't have a gun. But definitely this is a big step in our fight, in our war against dictatorship in Uganda, because by documenting this, we have the evidence, we have the proof And my office here is going to be compiling in the next day or two all this together into a mini document which is going to be distributed to various countries, to various organizations, to various world organizations and powers, to document and to show them that it's not just being against Museveni. This is a matter of life and death. This is a matter of fundamental human rights. So it's not just a political opposition. No, we are not an opposition. We are an organization for the protection of Ugandans. We are an organization for the protection of human rights in Uganda. And we are an organization to bring democratic rule and sensible government in Uganda by kicking out dictator Yoweri Museveni. I've been told, although I've not named the countries, that at least 3 countries, heads of delegation, when they are at the UN Assembly in the USA, declined or cancelled their proposed on-the-side meeting with the dictator Yoweri Museveni in response to what is going on in Kampala, in response to what is going on in Uganda. Again, this is a big win. This is very encouraging. It means that the world now, finally, the world is listening. And I don't want them to stop at just listening. I want them to come and help us, to help the Ugandans, and make sure that the wrongs over the last 30 years, I know those who have died will not come back, but it will be a beginning of the cleansing process if we can get as much international support, morally or otherwise, in order to rid Uganda and Africa of this cancer in the name of Yoweri Museveni. To rid Uganda of this devil in the name of Yoweri Museveni. So, ladies and gentlemen, although the fight is still going on, but so far what has been achieved this week is very positive. And Museveni now should listen, should know that the campaign we started is beginning to bear fruit. And we are not going to stop here, Mr. Museveni. Kaihura, we are not going to stop here. We are going to march forward until we reach that victory line. And the time is coming. So, I want you to take stock. I would like to thank the groups outside Uganda. I understand that there was a big meeting of Ugandans in the diaspora and well-wishers in the USA led by Mr. Alimadi, I believe. I've not got the full details, but congratulations on this. And every country where there are Ugandans, you should go ahead and do this. Let your voice be heard. Let this go on record that even the Ugandans outside want a peaceful Uganda, we want a stable Uganda, and we want dictator Yoweri Museveni booted out of power. Therefore, I would encourage this to go on in every country so that the voice of Ugandans and well-wishers can be heard. And it will be heard. But the job is ours to make sure that we make enough noise and we have enough proof to convince those who've been supporting Museveni that his time is up. I also like to thank, there are very, very many people. Now, those that I don't mention, please do not take offense, because although I know many have been helping those who have been beaten up, I don't have the proof, but I have proof of one, and with the photographic evidence of NTV's Aaron Mukama. He works for the NTV, who threw away his camera and rushed and helped a young lady at Makerere who had been sprayed with the poisonous gas and had fainted. He showed true nationalism, he showed true humanitarian spirit by throwing away everything he had in order to help this young lady. Thank you very much, Aaron. And others, I'd like to encourage you to do the same, because this fight is for everyone who loves Uganda. This fight is for everyone who wants to preserve human rights. This fight is for everyone who wants peace and prosperity in Uganda. When I was speaking in Uganda, I missed out one thing. I've just been reminded here. There is another message here. They sent it to me actually yesterday, but that a number of people who have been arrested over this period have been taken to Nalufenya, and they are still in Nalufenya. And some, at least 6 people, are still in Nagalama police station, and Museveni has got out his torture boys to torture them. Now, Dictator Yoweri Museveni, your time is almost up. Release these people unconditionally. They were expressing their anger. They're expressing their dissatisfaction about your rule, about your methods. They committed no crime. And now you've taken them to Nalufenya and Nagalama and other stations for torture. We are going to make a lot of noise internationally for these people to be released unconditionally. And Kaihura, take note that we are not going to stop. The voice of the people is much stronger than you. And we're going to go ahead. We're not going to shut up. We're going to go ahead until Uganda has been liberated. I also understand, and this came in a few hours ago, that the cabinet, some ministers in the government, have actually realized that their time is up, and they don't want to perish with a dictator. And now the cabinet is divided, and some are calling on the dictator to quickly give up his methods, quickly resign in order to save the situation from deteriorating. Now, just for him to step aside and put his son in power is not going to be enough. We want him to, yes, to get out of power, but we want the people to have a leader who is going to take Uganda forward. But I want to congratulate some of the members of the cabinet that have decided to come out, who have decided to advise their master that before they perish, they should change tactics and listen to the people. And I'd like to call upon members of the cabinet to come and join us. Come and join us. Although some of you have done evil things, but even the Bible says that if you repent of your sins, at least you should be considered for forgiveness. So those members of cabinet who are now beginning to see the light, we want to welcome you. We want you to help us. We want you to join this movement to change. And there is no better way of changing the country than from within. We want you to talk to some of those army men. We want you to talk to Kaihura so that he stops raping girls. He stops putting tear gas in the eyes of the students. He stops using poisonous tear gas on unarmed civilians. And the time is now. As for the residents, as for the nationals, I want you to continue. Chase away these MPs that are still supporting Dictator Yoweri Museveni. Chase them away from your location. It doesn't matter which party. Because at the end of the day, all of you are going to suffer. I gave an example that when these policemen are spraying poisonous tear gas on the students of Makerere, they've got masks, so they don't even see what they are doing. So they don't know who is down on the ground. He may be spraying the daughter of his brother. Now, army men and policemen, listen. You may be spraying poisonous gas on the daughter of your brother who is at Makerere because you don't discriminate, you just spray. Now, this is not only stupid, but definitely criminal and inhuman. And now I want to turn to the armed forces and the police. Your job is to protect Uganda. Your job is to protect Ugandans. And the Ugandans are going to judge you very harshly. And the time is coming. Don't kid yourself that you've got a bulletproof vest and you've got these big trucks that you are immune. You are not. The time is coming. The wave of change has started. The bushfire has been lit, and it's not going to go out until there is change in Uganda. Therefore, I want to call upon you. I want to call upon you in the police and the armed forces. Come and join us. These are your brothers that you're killing. I know there are some policemen and army men who are not Ugandans. These are recruits through the back door. These are mercenaries brought in by Yoweri Museveni. Now, I'm talking to the real Ugandans. I'm talking to the Ugandan army forces, the Ugandan policemen. These are your brothers and sisters. Abandon this man now while you still have time. Abandon this man now. Don't obey their order. When they say spray, you spray on the ground. Don't spray in the faces of the students. You spray on the ground. Spray on their shoes, on their feet. But by killing civilians, you are going to be branded like your master as killers, as murderers, as terrorists. And I'm telling you, the Ugandans are not going to take this lying down. And the repercussions are going to be very severe on you. So this is the time. This is the time for the Uganda Armed Forces. This is the time for the Uganda Police to take note that Kaihura is a foreigner. He is not even Uganda. Therefore, don't kill your fellow Ugandans. Therefore, there is a time when you can disobey a command if it goes against your conscience and if it goes against the oath you made when you're joining the forces. But when you're joining the forces, you do not join to kill and torture Ugandans. You joined to protect Ugandans. I want you to think about that, because otherwise the time is coming when all of you are going to be regarded with the same way as your master, and then it will be too late. So I want you to join us. Come and join us. Let's change Uganda for the better. Let's kick out dictator Yoweri Museveni. Ladies and gentlemen, because of time, I'll stop here and I'll allow some minutes for questions. Thank you very much.